Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Enlightened Entrepreneur. Today's interview is sponsored by World Outsourcing Solutions, where we specialize in helping business owners with outsourcing services and other business growth systems. And today I'm super excited to be having a lady who does not only talk about the subject but actually do what she teaches. And we're going to be talking about 7 steps to building total business confidence and success. Madeleine has been in the industry for a number of years now, and I think we are very privileged to be having Madeleine Morgan with us. Madeleine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
And once again, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule just to talk to us and help business owners in our community, especially here in the UK and others and other part of the world. Now, to get us started, Madeleine, talk to us about your background. How did you end up being a coach?
Okay, well, I was actually working out in the Middle East. I was teaching. I got very interested. I met an American couple who were very interested in personal development. And as a result of that, I got to really feel that was the missing piece. I really like teaching, but actually the kind of things that you can work on with as a coach, work on with people is more central to what they need in life to get on.
Yes.
And so as soon as I discovered all this whole personal development world, I started doing courses and eventually I came back to the UK and did some studying in life coaching, NLP, personality profiling, and also in business coaching because I was going to set up my own business.
Yes.
And I'd never had business experience before. So this was, 18 years ago?
Yes.
And as a result of that, then I set up in Cambridge and started my own coaching business.
Yes, and you've gone on to help, hundreds of business owners. I was reading your profile earlier on, and what really impressed me is how you literally helped small business owners transform their business into something they didn't recognize before. I think that's remarkable.
This has been a very exciting journey in that respect. It's to seeing business owners struggling, and either in various aspects, it might be that they don't get enough leads, or they've got people that's difficult to manage, or they don't have the confidence to go out there and sell, all those sorts of things. And then to see them, blossom, thrive, get profitable. But not only that, but to give themselves the lifestyle and their families the lifestyle that they hoped they would have when they first set up in business.
Incredible. Let me take you back, Madeleine, to 17 years ago when you were starting out. Because you were just coming in, this was all brand new. You were going to make it happen. How did you go about it? What did you do first?
Well, when I first started, it was the days were very simple in the sense that if you put your advert in a yellow pages book and you went to business networking, you were likely to pick up clients as long as you frame the advert well, or you know how to network and so on. And so actually those are some of my early steps. And the other thing I did was I tapped into, I've been living abroad for a long time, so I didn't have a big local contact base, but and that's how networking really helped with that. But also I did have my brother living with me, living in the same place, not with me.
Yes.
And he had people he knew, he had a big contact base and tapped into that too.
Excellent. And I love the fact that, you utilize what you had at the time, because a lot of people, they're waiting for things to happen, but you went out and make it happen for yourself, which I think is remarkable.
Yeah, I had to really, because I didn't know many people. Just had to get out there and do it.
Yes. Were there any obstacles that you still even see in other business owners right now when you're working with them that you had to overcome?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is the steep learning curve that goes from when you start a business. There are so many things to have to learn. well beyond your technical skills. And it doesn't matter whether you're an accountant, a builder, a business coach. There are so many things to learn about having your own business. And I think that was the thing I underestimated.
Right.
And got a quick education in it. Yeah.
It's so true, because there's so many moving parts in running a business, and you do have to stay on top of it. Otherwise, you end up not making anything. In fact, that's the reason why a lot of businesses fail within their first 1 or 2 years of operations.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. So, what sort of mindset did you have to adopt, to deal with that steep learning curve?
Well, I'm fortunate in the sense that I'm a complete learning junkie. And so that helped a lot. I naturally wanted to learn anyway.
Yes.
But also I sought out people who'd been there, done it, got the T-shirt, been successful in themselves as coaches and mentors. So, it speeded up the learning curve for me. I didn't have to learn from all my own mistakes by doing that.
That's very wise, because that's where coaches and mentors come into play. Because oftentimes business owners, in fact, I speak for myself, those early years way back in 2008, I thought I'm going to do whatever it takes, and went on to work very, very hard myself. But looking back, if I had just gotten a coach, I would have cut the learning curve very, very fast.
Yeah, well, they do say that 80% of businesses who don't have a coach fail in the first 5 years, whereas 80% of businesses that do have a coach succeed in the first 5 years. And those are the crucial years when you're really, a lot of people run out of money before they're successful. So getting a coach in at that time is a powerful tool for their business.
Incredible. And, that's one of the things that you do helping businesses. And I like the result that you're getting for people as well. So if you are listening, we are talking to Madeleine, who is also a business coach, but has a personal insight into how a business owner can run their business. And I think Madeleine will be somebody good to check out. Even I have a discovery call. Now, Madeleine, I know for a fact that a few weeks ago you were on a webinar and you ended up with about 20 discovery calls to deal with. Talk to us about that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I just shared with people how to succeed. And there were about 130 people on it. And I gave them some very practical success tips that they could take away and use. But they realised I also offered them a free discovery session, which I'll offer at the end of this session too, to talk to me personally, because although it's useful getting information from all kinds of sources, from books, from webinars, from podcasts and so on, you still need that personal attention, somebody who really gets to know you, gets to know your business, and can give you that personalised advice for your personal business success, to help you to manage, to reach your goals.
Absolutely. In fact, in my own experiences, if you don't have an external contribution to what you are doing as a business owner, you could be striving your own personal growth or your own business growth as well. So I have business coaches, I have personal coaches on many aspects of my life. One of the things I regret is I wish I had started doing these things earlier on. My business would be somewhere else. But, it's a learning process. That brings me to the next question, Madeleine. How do you market your coaching business today?
Okay, so when I first started out, I didn't realise that the internet was going to be such a big thing.
Right.
But now I would say 40% of my business comes through my website and doing blogging and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Social media, etc. And however, the traditional ways that I started out with, particularly with networking and building referral partnerships and business relationships, has and still does serve me really well. And probably about 40% of my business comes through the business relationships I've established through networking. So people getting to know me, wanting to refer me, and so on. And then the rest of it comes from client referral. And sometimes you might think, there should be more from client referral. But I think it depends on the business that you're in. So because coaching is confidential, sometimes people don't want to talk about the help that they've had.
Correct.
They'd rather go, ta-da, I did all this.
Correct.
But so those are the three main things: client referral, business networking, and the internet in all its various forms.
Incredible. And one of the things you touched on earlier on was using webinars. And I think, from my business experience, webinars are the fastest way of getting in front of a lot of audience, and using time wisely. That's for any business coach out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay, let's jump into our topic today, Madeleine, which is all about building your total business confidence and success. What, in your opinion, you could say is the first step to achieving that business confidence and success?
Yeah, well, in my experience, the first step is the goal. It's defining the goal.
Right, defining the goal.
Yeah. So there are various aspects to this, really. And they say that people who really succeed are the ones who not only clarify their goals but write them down and keep reviewing them. I think that's a very important thing. We all have that experience of doing New Year's resolutions on the 1st of January, and then we never look at that goal again, and it fades, the whole effort fades out. And so actually making sure that your goals, they're not only written down, but they also meet certain criteria. So they need to be specific. For instance,
right.
Some people say, "Well, I want to earn more money." But if you gave them a penny, they would definitely be earning more. But I doubt if that would be satisfactory. So
Correct, yes.
Being specific is really important. Also, that the goals are measurable, so that people know when they've got there. I know people often will set goals, get to them, and then say, "Oh, no, I'm still not good enough." And by having those goal posts in place, not only do they feed their self-esteem by actually noticing that they've reached their goal, but they also will have more clarity about what resources and what activities they need to do to reach them.
Right.
Yeah. They need to be achievable, in other words, stretching and interesting, but not wildly impossible. Otherwise, it's very discouraging. And they need to be important to you. So a lot of people will set up in business and they get absorbed in the profit and loss. And basically, some of the things that actually keep you motivated are things that you can do when your business is successful, such as, giving your children opportunities they didn't have, exploring, going traveling, or achieving financial security, or whatever it is. And it's making sure that your goals are relevant to your wider life goals that will help you have the motivation to succeed at them. I think the other thing then is that they have a time frame on them, because that's what gives you the adrenaline to actually achieve them, is having a time frame, a time by which you will do something. Otherwise, I saw a podcast recently by Tim Urban on procrastination. Yes. It's a TED Talk, and he talked about the panic monster. And whereas I wouldn't advise that people rule their lives by panic, there's a certain need for all of us, if we're going to achieve things, to have a deadline to work towards. Otherwise, it just gets pushed out.
Absolutely. It's interesting, Madeleine, because if you were to look back in your most progressive years of life, or any business person, you'll find that most of those progressive were in school. And if you look at the school, it's because you knew the exam was coming at the end of the term. So you had to work very hard.
Yeah, absolutely. There are definite milestones to work towards, aren't there?
Correct. But now, sometimes in business, you don't have those goals. So there's no pressure there.
Yes.
We all require some element of pressure to get this thing going.
You do, especially as the owner of the business. There's no one to report to.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Incredible. Okay. We've touched on specifics, that the goal should be measurable, they should be achievable. We talked about it should mean something to you and be very important and have a specifics in terms of the time when you're going to achieve them. Why do people set goals in the first place? Because a lot of people know these things, but why don't they do this?
Why don't they do it?
Yes.
I think it's something that we, like you were saying about school, we're so used to having our milestones set for us. I'm not sure that we've developed that muscle particularly. And certainly through school life, there's a track, isn't it? School, further education, first job. And I think we tend to run the risk of, or are trained in a way to walk through it all. I know it doesn't feel like that when you're studying for exams, but there is a certain element of that. Right. And I think maybe we're not given that autonomy earlier on in life, that real transition into setting our own goals and taking ownership of them.
I like that because I remember I did not start setting goals until I was in business, until I had a mentor actually. I just went ahead in life, say, I want to be a business person, I want to do this, but I had no specific goals. And I think you have just nailed it, because I didn't know how to do it until, my mentor said, you need to do that. And he gave me the tape by Jim Rohn on goal setting, which I had to complete within a week. And after that, everything became clear. I started mapping up the way I wanted to go. And I thought, I wish I had started doing this way, way back. My life certainly would be different.
Yeah, I know. I certainly, when I work with clients, very few of them start out with a business plan.
Right.
And it's definitely something that's strongly missing. Particularly, it's interesting, isn't it, that as people grow their business, or rather I should say that people only start to realize that they need goals when their momentum runs out. So, I can imagine, Bill Gates started to spend a lot of his money that he'd earned through his business on charitable things.
Right.
And, money in itself, and the earning of money in itself is not always a motivator. Or when we get to a certain comfort level, we stop. And then other things need to motivate ourselves. And I guess he and a lot of people who get to that success stage in business start to give it away, because that's the next goal, really, is, that gives them purpose.
Incredible. Now let's move on to another stage. Say you've got all your goals set out, you cover all the basics. What would be the second step a business owner is to take in order to achieve those particular goals?
Yeah, okay. So, yes, once we've got our goals in place, and I should say that a good question for setting your goals is, what do I want, or what do I want to happen? And, that can start the process off. And it's a very good process, or a very good question to ask, because your mind is a bit like a travel agent.
Right.
And if you say, what we more often say is what we don't want in life. Well, I don't want to fail. I don't want it to go wrong. I don't want to lose money. And your unconscious mind finds that really hard to work with. If I said to you, don't think of a pair of sunglasses, what happens?
Obviously, you think about them.
You do, don't you? And it's the same. What often happens when we're in a negative frame of mind, we keep saying what we don't want, and the unconscious mind keeps thinking of that.
Right, right.
So if you said to a travel agent, I don't want to go to Paris, for instance, your travel agent would have to say, well, where do you want to go? And that is exactly what goal setting does. It treats your brain like a travel agent. It tells you where you want to go. So then the second step then is, and the second question, the second step is about role and identity. The right role or identity for you, to help you achieve your goal. So your question is, who do I need to be? Or what role do I need to play?
Right.
And I'll give you an example. I was working with a client called John, and he was the business owner. He also had to, it's a small business, so he had to do the sales as well. And he really didn't like doing such things as presenting and cold calling and asking for the order and all those sorts of things. And because he thought he needed to be a salesperson to do all that, or a presenter, and he wasn't very comfortable with those identities. He didn't like to think of himself in that way because all the negative associations with selling and so.
Yes.
And so what I found out after I've been coaching him for a while, I just asked him some really good questions. And what identity he was very comfortable with is being a problem solver. And I think that's common to most people who run a business, is they really we all really love helping people solve problems of various sorts, whether it's, to have their extension or do their accounts or, create their printing or whatever it is. That's, we like to serve our customers and do it well.
Correct.
And so I got him to think of himself as a problem solver when he's selling. His client has a problem, and his job is to find out if there's a good match between that problem and his solutions. And then, so once he thought of himself as a problem solver in a sales context, he was very confident because he just loved playing that role, and it made him successful as a salesperson too.
Incredible. So it's all about who you want to become, who you're working on yourself to be.
Being the person you need to be to succeed at your goal. And if there's a mismatch between your goal and how you think of yourself, you won't succeed. It's another example would be, for instance, I've worked with quite a number of people who, in business, who think of themselves more as a technical expert.
Right.
They think of themselves as an HR consultant or a recruiter or a carpenter or whatever it is.
Yes.
Rather than actually thinking of themselves as an entrepreneur, somebody's growing a business that will eventually may well work without them, certainly something they may want to sell on.
Right.
But technical experts do different things from entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs take care of the marketing, the selling, the building the team, and the ideas that will move the business forward. Technical experts just get better at what they're technical at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Incredible. Madeleine, you're sharing some really, really important things, and I'm sure business owners are taking notes as much as I am, because these are the things that differentiate, somebody who's going to be winning in their business and somebody who's not going to be winning in their business. And we really appreciate that. Now, assuming we've got that covered, the goals, and we're working on the person we want to be, we've got that clarity. What will then be the next step for them to be working on or to do?
Okay, so the third step then is to have the right values to achieve your goals. Your values are about what's important. So the question to ask yourself is, what do I need to make important to succeed at my goals?
Right.
Okay, so for instance, a lot of people setting up a business suddenly realize that certainty is very important to them, security, those sorts of things. Whereas actually to succeed in business, you sometimes have to take calculated risks to succeed.
Absolutely.
So, you don't know if your marketing is going to work. You don't know if going to a business networking thing is going to bring you business. You just need to step out there and try. Now, obviously, a coach can help you do it in the best way possible, and there are still no 100% guarantees. There are so many factors involved. So taking calculated risks, so ones where you're still prepared, you've developed the skills and so on, and you need to make more important than absolute security. That thing is that that having to know it's all going to turn out well, and everybody's going to love it, and you won't make a mistake, and you know exactly what's going to happen. If that's important to you, then it's very hard to succeed in business.
Absolutely. The issue of values, I think, is what keeps you going. Because if you've got your values the right way, as your team grows and they abide to those values, you will continue growing. But if you have a mismatch, you bring somebody on board, the whole thing would not work out the way. You'll be a different company to you. Then step back and think, did I really create that? I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, you're right there. Certainly, sometimes it's thinking beyond your own values, but the values of the team, the people you recruit to help you with your business.
Right.
And, that might be direct employees, it might be suppliers, all sorts of people, making sure they have the right values to support your business is really important. But one experience I've got is with a client called Dave, and he spent far too long perfecting his work for his clients. So, perfectionism was a really strong value for him. And in a way, you'd say, well, that's good, isn't it? The high quality service and everything. But he wasn't charging enough for it to be economical for him or his team to do, achieve that level of perfection. So he had to either raise his prices or do work that was good enough rather than perfect.
Yes.
So at first he tried opting for the good enough and found that actually his clients were extremely happy. The extra hours to get that extra 1% in terms of quality of work wasn't really worth it to them. What they wanted was the good enough solution at the right price.
Outstanding. Literally outstanding. Assuming, Madeleine, we've got that covered, what next should business owner do? I know previously we were talking about mindset. What next do you think?
Beliefs is a really important thing. What do I need to think in order to achieve my goals?
Right.
It's a really important thing. So making sure you hold positive and helpful beliefs rather than limiting ones. For example, limiting beliefs might be things like there's too much competition, or I've got to charge low prices, or it's impossible. Whereas, all of those will cause you to perhaps not take the action you need to take, not invest in the investment in your business that it needs in order for you to grow. If you charge low prices, then you're always going to have a lot of competition, somebody who can undercut you, and you won't earn enough necessarily to reinvest in better equipment or training or marketing and so on. So it's important to think in the right way. So some useful beliefs might be, I can find a way to succeed. Another one might be, there's no failure, there's only feedback, or there's only results. What I like about that second one particularly is that it allows you to take those calculated risks. You say, well, I'll try this and I'll get the feedback, and then if I get the result I want, fantastic. If I don't, then I'll learn something that will help me get that result next time.
Outstanding. I'd never had the second one before. It's actually very good. There's no way to fail. There's only feedback. Incredible.
Yeah. Well, one that I had a client called Sally, and she had team difficulties. So they would either turn up late or they would forget to do things the right way. And she was that kind of person who found it difficult to have these tough conversations with her team. And one thing that I shared with her, a belief that she found very useful, was every behavior has a positive intention. It's almost like we're all icebergs and we judge each other by what we say and do. But as Stephen Covey says, we judge other people by what they say and do. We judge ourselves by our intentions. And she found that by being curious about what made people late, what made them do things the way they did, helped her to have a more positive conversation with them and perhaps train them into better ways than if she felt she had to be like the boss. She wasn't very comfortable with that attitude or way of being, but this helped her to have that curiosity that allowed her to move very constructively through difficult issues.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Having covered so much, I know we've packed a lot in here. Is there anything else that you wish our listeners would know when it comes to getting the most out of themselves for business?
Yeah, sure. So we've covered 4 of our 7 steps. So I'll just quickly mention the last 3 here.
Yes.
So the 5th step then is this, getting the right skills and knowledge to achieve your goals. So your question would be, what do I need to know or know how to do to achieve my business goals?
Right.
And this relates to some of the other areas in the sense that in the second level we talked about how you need to think of yourself, and getting the right skills to run your business is, are you going to run it as an amateur or are you going to run it as a professional? And what's curious is with our technical skills, we often have a very professional attitude, but we often have an amateur attitude to the other wider skills that we need, such as leadership skills, presenting, selling, marketing, all those sorts of things. We somehow often expect to be able to do that as amateurs, and that's a quick way to self-sabotage.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it also relates to the third step about value. So again, do you value the amateur way of doing things or the professional way of doing things? So all these different steps do relate to each other.
Incredible.
So one of the reasons that I discovered this is that some of the reasons why I created my Cambition Business Guidance Business Growth Program is it's almost like an MBA for small business owners, and it help put in the foundations of all the things they needed in business outside their technical skills, such as selling, marketing, team management, time management, and so on, into one course that then once they have those, then the one-to-one coaching, we can build on that we can use the one-to-one coaching to build on that base knowledge rather than using the one-to-one coaching to get them up to speed in the first place. So wow. I found that group coaching program is a very valuable way for business owners to get that skills and knowledge level they really need to succeed.
Incredible. While we are on that topic, Madeleine, how can people get in touch with you should they, want to work with you?
Yes, I've got a website. It's the cambitionbusinessguidance.co.uk, and I believe you're going to put some information about that with the podcast, aren't you? Correct.
Yes.
Yes, in the bio. There's also my email address, so it's Madeleine, so it's MADELEINE at growu.co.uk, so GROW on the letter U.co.uk. And I also have a LinkedIn profile as well.
Incredible. And people can just type in Madeleine Morgan and they will be able to find you straight away on LinkedIn.
Yes, that's right. I'm based in Cambridge. So
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And you also do group coaching as well. Can people find out about that from your website? Or
yes, the Cambition Business Growth, CambishionBusinessGuidance.co.uk website has the program outlined there, as well as the one-to-one coaching that I do. And there is an offer on there for a free coaching discovery session or business growth strategy session, really, so that we can talk about your the challenges, the goals that you have, and then make a plan to achieve those goals and overcome those challenges, so that you can go away feeling excited and motivated, sure that you're going to be able to achieve those business goals
and just go make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, Madeleine, you've done outstanding, and we want to honor your time, really, because you've given us a lot of information to think about, and maybe we could have you some other time in future to talk about a different subject. But one thing which is very clear to me, and I'm sure is coming through to others, is you've done this before, and you know what you're talking about. You can help individuals. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Incredible. Now, if you wanted to get in touch again with Madeleine, go to this website. I'm going to give it to you once again. It's buildselfconfidence.co.uk. And the other one is www.successformanagers.co.uk. And the other one, which Madeleine has quoted, is ambitionbusinessguidance.co.uk. So you should be able to connect with Madeleine from any of these three. Alternatively, send her an email at this web email address, which is madeleine@growyou.co.uk, or find her on LinkedIn. And here's what I've learned about business. It's not so much, but I've discovered that, the success you need is always in somebody who's done it before. And you can tell here from Madeleine that, she's been at it for the last 18 years now, actually, helping business owner, running her own business, which, certainly you can pick one or two things from there, because success leaves clue. So once again, thank you for joining us here, and we wish you all the success that you possibly can. And you can check out around here for more interviews with experts, and any question that you may have, we'll be able to respond to them by you writing to us at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com for more information. So once again, Madeleine, I know you believe in giving to the community. Talk to us about that for a moment.
Yes, so I support a number of charities.
Yes.
And one of them is WaterAid.
Yes.
Another is very much believe in the next generation. So another one is the NSPCC that I support as well. But I think the other thing that I do is that, as part of my business network, I mentor people to get the most out of their networking experience.
Right.
And yes, I'm very keen to help the community.
Incredible. Really appreciate that. We talk about helping the community here at Enlightened Entrepreneur because we believe that it is our responsibility to play our part. Politicians play their part, the religious circle plays their part. And we, as business owners, if we play our part, we create a better society. So it's so good to hear that you're doing something over there in Cambridge, helping our society in England. Incredible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. With that said, thanks again for being here with us. Look forward to connecting with you again shortly. And for our listeners, thank you for being with us. And I look forward to being with you again very, very shortly. Have an outstanding day today.